What's up guys, Cory here. It's been a while since I've got to do a review because I had to do a little bit of work on my camera, but I'm back and just in time for Star Wars The Last Jedi, so let's break it down in Attack of the Review. Star Wars The Last Jedi was directed by Rian Johnson and is the 8th film in the franchise.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
It stars Mark Hamill, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, and John Boyega, just to name a few. So it's been 2 years since The Force Awakens, and I was excited for Rogue One when it came out. It was fun, but just left me wanting much more Star Wars and wanting me to see what happens with the rest of the story here. So The Last Jedi, finally, I'm very excited. It was a great film, but did it answer my questions? You know, it's like, who's Rey's parents? What happens with Luke Skywalker here? Where did Kylo Ren really originate from? What's even going to happen with Leia? Just way too many questions to answer, but we're going to go ahead and break it down now. But warning, this has some spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the film, stop now or skip to the end to see my rating. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick it in. Alright, so we're not even going to talk about the cinematography because you know that's going to be an A right now here, because the only thing I don't like half the time is the plot holes or the story concepts in Star Wars. All of the cinematography is awesome, all the CGI, all the characters, all the action. It's magnificent, so yeah, like I said, A. On. So let's get to some of the plot points and how they turned out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about Rey's parents because we still don't know who they are, or well, as Kylo Ren would say, they're nobodies. But are they nobodies? Maybe they're not Jedis, because, I mean, it's possible that people don't have to be raised by other Jedis to become Jedis or use the Force. I get that. But we are introduced to some interesting characters like Benicio del Toro, who, if you do a little sleuthing online, is named DJ, right? So let's go to say DJ, who seems like a drunken criminal anyways, could be much more powerful than he's letting on right now. And you know who else is? Rey. Bouncing off that, we're going to talk about Finn and Phasma, because I personally think that Phasma could be Finn and Rey's mom. I think they could be related. Possibly a different father, maybe Mace Windu, maybe Lando Calrissian. That could explain some Force happenings in these people. But I do believe that Benicio del Toro may be Rey's dad. So you might have Phasma and DJ, Benicio del Toro's character, if you do a little sleuthing. His name's DJ, they don't say it in the film, but maybe they were Rey's parents and they split and Phasma took Finn. So looking at it, you could have the same mom for Finn and Rey, but maybe two separate dads. And maybe that's why Benicio del Toro, the drunken gambler codebreaker, actually left Rey for drinking money because he wanted to go explore this new fantastic planet, and just left his child on Jakku because he is a POS. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, you don't see a lot of him. You don't really get a lot of his motivations, but I mean, he's going to be more important because he just disappears after handing Finn to the First Order. So I don't think that that can necessarily be ruled out yet. I don't think that necessarily it can also be proven. And so let's go ahead and jump into the next spoiler talk, which is Snoke. So we don't find out who Snoke is, even though Kylo Ren slices him in half when him and Rey have to kind of escape that lair, and then Kylo Ren ends up becoming the Supreme Leader now. But I don't personally think that Snoke is Darth Plagueis. I don't think he's also some random villain. I really think that he's got to be played off Darth Vader. And I honestly think that maybe it even has to do with Luke Skywalker. There's obviously a light and a dark side of the Force. So the whole cryptic ending there with Luke, this is also going to tie into my next spoiler, is to say that maybe when Snoke died, something happened within the Force there with Luke Skywalker as well, because it was very cryptic the way he kind of disappeared at the end, and I didn't know if Luke's alive still, or if he's dead, or if he's like a Force ghost, which if he's a Force ghost, hey, cool. And we even got to see some Yoda Force ghosts, which was like my favorite part of the film here. But knowing that Snoke was so easily defeated, they didn't go into any of it, and he just was kind of left there on the ground. General Hux just kind of, you know, in awe, like what just happened here. I think a lot of this is going to come back in the next film. I think a lot of it's going to come back full circle to tell you more of what happened in the past, the Knights of Ren and Luke Skywalker, because there's just a lot they didn't tell you in this film, even though it plays out in front of you. You know what's happening, you just don't know the backstory or why yet, and I do like that, man. Rian Johnson, you really got that going, because there's so many questions I have still from the first film to now that you still were able to answer and give me cool new things like Porgs and what happened to Maz Kanata and just all these other people, but I just couldn't get myself out of the fact that I feel like Snoke has to be tied in much harder to the original trilogies or even the prequel trilogies, because it's there. It's all there. There's no reason it shouldn't be. You can't just have a bad guy like Snoke come in just to evolve Adam Driver's character and make Kylo Ren have some kind of motivation. I think this is going to be much deeper than we're looking at. So for the acting, I thought the acting was fantastic. It always is. Of course, this is a Disney film. I will say the only thing I just wasn't a big fan of was just how much of an asshole Luke Skywalker was. I mean, I get that he hasn't seen people in forever, but like, why he's such an asshole? We used to love Luke Skywalker. I mean, he's Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill still ends up pulling off the chivalry in the end of the film, but the whole time he's kind of training Rey, he's just so asshole-ish that I just really didn't like him. You know, it's like the way Yoda was kind of playful and fun and made fun of him and made him feel dumb. It was like Yoda was always a step ahead because that Jedi mastery, but I don't feel like Luke has the same control. I don't feel like Luke had the same, pull in the feel of what Rey was trying to accomplish when she came to meet him. She needed to gauge her powers, and really I didn't feel the same way as I did when Luke and Yoda had to train through the marsh after he crashed the X-Wing. I mean, those were classic moments of the growth of Luke Skywalker that I wanted to see here with Rey. It was still there, but her mentor just was not enough for me. However, later on in the film, Luke definitely pulled himself back. He was awesome. He was creative. He was a magnificent character again. Leia was awesome. Poe Dameron's character again stepping up. There's just a lot to this film for the actors that they can really play off of. So for me, I'm going to give the acting B+, only for Luke, I'm sorry. Even though I love Luke Skywalker to death, I just wish he was a little bit more heroic, because that's what he was. I know he made some mistakes in the film. He's supposed to be dealing with grief, regret, separation from everything, but I just don't feel that in Luke Skywalker. I watched the original trilogies, and he's not that kind of person. I don't think time or any kind of isolation is going to change that, especially in somebody who saved the universe already. So, yeah, that's why it's a B, sorry. So for me, I'm going to give this film 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays, because it's not perfect, but it's almost there. Rian Johnson is doing a great job of bridging what happened in The Force Awakens and the new story, taking this and putting it into, kind of a moving structure with the inertia going into the last installment of this film. And I think it's going to really play off to an epic finale. The only thing that I just didn't like, again, Luke Skywalker, a couple little careless plot points that I don't think were necessary to the story, but overall, man, this is a film I can see myself watching a good 10 times, because I've already seen Force Awakens like 30, so why not go ahead and break the record with this one when it comes out on Blu-ray too, right? So, hey, Star Wars Last Jedi is in theaters now. Go check it out.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by this review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Let me know what you thought about the film down here in the comments. As always, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Attack TV.